On this tutorial we're going to look at creating the base for the lamp. We're going to stick to a traditional square style, but you can have a little bit of creative freedom on this if you like. We're also going to look at putting the nut and a bolt in the bottom adjustment there as well. So to start off with, I'm going to change the view, rotate it round and select that bottom surface, sketch, and I'm going to start drawing my square. I want to view it from the bottom to make it a little bit easier for me. Drawing the square roughly in the right place and dimensioning to limit that then. So 200 by 200 should suffice, and I'm going to measure it from this centre point to get it in line nicely with the centre of where the bulb goes, and from the top to that point as well as 100. If I ever changed the 200 size of this, I'd have to adjust the 100s as well to keep it in the centre. I'm then going to confirm that sketch and extrude it, selecting it from the history timeline here at 30 millimeters. That's the same size as the pin, and by selecting it from the history timeline it's the whole cuboid selected and it's not accidentally ignoring some of the circles that are overlapping with it there. I'll confirm that extrude. At the moment we can see it's attached to the whole base, which means I didn't select new. So I'll go back and edit and select new and tick, and you can see it's now a new part as the base. To add the level of detail the traditional lamps have as well, this will, you will see an extra part. There's a larger square sticking out as well. So on this surface we'll sketch, look at it from the bottom and draw another square in, and that square is going to be 20 millimeters extra around every edge. So you can see we're just measuring from edge to edge with a dimension tool. Click, click, put it down in the middle and make that 20. Okay, fairly straightforward. Tick, extrude, rotate it so we can see it in 3D, and we're adding this to the base, so we'll remember to do that this time, and I'm just going to make that 15 millimeters, so not too much. Sketch 20 selected, sorry, and the merge scope is with part 12. So part 12 is that new base that we created. Once that's done, we're going to click tick and we can rotate it round. We can see that our lamp base is starting to look a bit more now like we want it to. We'll add some chamfers, some rounds, and make it look a bit interesting. Looking at it aesthetically, it does look as if that pin is a little bit too close to the back, so I'm going to move that slightly more central, not much but slightly. So I'm going to edit sketch 19, and that's this distance from the line, so I'm going to increase that to 120 mil, so it's still offset towards the back, but I've got a larger space back here. Tick, and then that's looking more like I'd expect to see. The next part is adding a slight chamfer to these sides, all of the sides here. So we're going to add, using a chamfer tool, we're going to select all of those parts and all of these parts here as well. Okay, we can keep it like that as 5 millimeters, but I'd actually like to make it slightly different. So it's going to go to 2 distances, and the first one is going to be 5, we'll leave that the same, and the second one is 10. So you can see it's going down 10 the way now and only 5 in. I might up that to 15 and just see what it looks like. It's just joining in the centre there. I'm not overly happy with the look of that, so I'll go back to 10. And there we go, we've got a slightly more Art Deco style base that we're happy with. So we're going to keep it quite solid like this. The next bit, we need to create that pin, the hole for the pin in there. So on this surface, we're going to create a new sketch, and I'm actually going to look at it through all of that at the bottom. So we're going to view it from the bottom and change shaded to shaded with hidden edges. I'm then going to draw the circle in line with this one. So if we zoom in, we can actually see which circle we're on about. We put that in, and if we remember, the dimension for this was 12 millimeters. So it was a nice robust pin. So rotate it back now. Our drawing is hidden underneath all of this. If we want to see it a little bit clearer, we can hide a few of the parts. So if we hide these parts, we can actually see that now a little bit easier. And we're going to extrude the circle that we've just drawn. So extrude in sketch 21 at 30 millimeters, just remembering that dimension of the pin, and we're going to remove the material. And you can see it's going the correct way now. It's sitting in there quite nicely. And we can just click tick on there. So now we've got the pin for that to sit in. Okay, that is our base almost done. We're going to add a little bit of complexity into that in the next tutorial, but if I unhide all of these parts in the parts list so they're showing back up now, the last bit for us to add in is actually this nut and bolt going through here, and we're doing it in a very similar way to what we did the last nut and bolt. It's just a slightly different dimension because these sides are 5mm thick as opposed to 3, which were the last ones. So I'm going to change my view back to shaded. Gets rid of a little bit of the complexity. We're going to start on this face, sketch, and a circle. Looking at it from the left, we're going to sketch our circle in line in there. And the dimension for this is just 6mm. We did all of the nuts and bolts the same, so they were easy to remember. Okay, happy with that sketch. So we're going to extrude that through now. Rotate to view it from the other side. Flip that extrude. And remember, we just want it poking out 4 from this side. So the middle bit should be 10, these are both 5. So if I change that to 20, it should be flush with the end. So I know that 24 will give us the 4mm poking out that we're after. We'll finish that. It's done it as a new part, just checking the colour is different so we know it's a new part as well. Clicking on that surface, the next part is the head of the bolt. So we'll create a new circle on there. And the dimension for that we used on the others was 14 as well. Okay, so 14 diameter, click tick, extrude, selecting it from the whole timeline as opposed to just the circle, which would give us a donut shape that we're not after. Make it 4mm, and we're adding it. The merge scope then is going to be part 13. It might be different depending on how many parts you've got at this stage, but mine's part 13. I do need to go and update all the names on this just as a matter of good practice. And I'll finish that. I've now got that bolt going through, and I just need to add the nut on the end. So this surface, sketch, I'm going to draw it out on there, dimension that at 14, and finish. Extrude, and this time I'll select it on the drawing so I actually get the donut because that's what I'm after. The other way it only needs to be 4mm, and again it is a new part. Click tick, and we can see it's a different colour so we know it is a new part as well. And that's on there. We now have pretty much the whole of our lamp done. We'll look at assemblies and a few other final touches in future tutorials so that we can actually start animating and moving the lamp around into different positions. Good luck.